A very good morning to all. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, and the name of the chapter is Adaptations in Animals. So we all know that animals live everywhere and they need air, water, food to live because they are living things. And even we can classify animals as herbivorous, that is animals which eat only plants, and animals which eat other animals. We can call them carnivorous animals. And what about animals which eat both plants and animals? We call them omnivorous animals. So these are the classification of animals based on the food they eat. So animals are everywhere. So they need air, water and food to live. So in this chapter, we are going to learn about adaptations in animals. What are the special features that helps animal to survive in its place? So you all know what is adaptation. So what is adaptation? Adaptation means the body features and habits that help a living thing to live in its habitat, that we call it as adaptation. So what is this habitat? What is the meaning of habitat? So where do we all live? So we all live in a house, and house is our habitat, right? So likewise, animals also have a house to live. So the place where the living organism live, that we call it as habitat. The place where the living organisms live, we call it as habitat. The natural place of the living organism, that is habitat. So for an animal to survive, what all things they need? They are living thing, right? So they need air, they need water, they need food, and even they need the right kind of environment. So what is this right kind of environment? All animals cannot live in every place, right? There are animals which can live in very cold place. There are animals which can live only in very hot place. There are animals which can live in water. So animals need the right kind of environment also to live. So let me give you an example. So where do these monkeys live? They live on land. What about the fish? Where do they live? They live in water, right? So imagine a monkey lives in water. Can it survive? No. Why? Because it has its body features adapted to live on land. It cannot live in water. And what about a fish? Can a fish live on land? No. Why? Because it has its body features adapted to live in water. So that is the right kind of environment. The place where the living organisms live, we call it as habitat. The place that provides them the food, water and the right kind of environment, then that is called habitat. So, based on habitat, we can classify animals. We can classify animals as terrestrial animals, aquatic animals, aerial animals and arboreal animals. Let's discuss them one by one. The first one, terrestrial animals. Based on habitat, we can classify animals as terrestrial animals. So what are these terrestrial animals? Animals that live on land, we call it as terrestrial animals. And most of these animals have legs, they can walk and they can run faster. And all these animals have some special features that helps them to survive on land. So there are animals which live in desert like the camel. There are animals which live in mountain. There are animals which live in forest. All these are terrestrial animals. So what are terrestrial animals? Animals which live on land are called as terrestrial animals. And they have their own body features to survive on land. So animals live on land, we call it as terrestrial animals. Then what about the next one? Aquatic animals. So what are aquatic animals? So you all know the meaning of word aqua. So aqua means water. So animals that live in water, we call it as aquatic animals. So these animals also have their own body features that helps them to survive in water. So there are many examples for aquatic animals like the fish, the dolphin, starfish. All these are examples for aquatic animals. So they live either in the fresh water or salty water. So what are aquatic animals? Animals that live in water. And the next kind of animals is the aerial animals. You know what are aerial animals? Animals that keep flying day and night and spend most of their time on air. We call them as aerial animals. So what are aerial animals? Animals that keep flying and spend most of their time on air. And there are many examples for animals like the eagle, vulture. All these are aerial animals. And these animals also have some features that are adapted for flying. And these animals also have feathers. So all these features helps them to survive in its place. So aerial animals spend most of their time flying. They spend most of their time on air. So such animals we call them as aerial animals. Then the next kind of animal, that is the arboreal animals. You know what are arboreal animals? Animals which live on trees. So you can see monkeys, squirrel, all these are arboreal animals. So where do they live? They live on trees. They spend most of their time on trees. And these animals also have some body features. So these animals have elongated limbs. You know what is elongated? Elongated means longer. So they have longer limbs that helps them to jump from one tree to another. So they have their own body features to survive in its place. So what are arboreal animals? Animals that live on trees are called as arboreal animals. So these are the classification of animals based on habitat. So what are they? They are terrestrial animals, aquatic animals, aerial animals and arboreal animals. So that's all for today. And in the coming class, we will be learning more about adaptation of animals. Thank you.